But that was the only year I didn't work. From then on, I worked. I'd go to college during the year, and then in the summer I worked. I had a lot of interesting jobs. I worked for Rheingold Brewery, a beer place.
Mm-hmm.
That was a terrific job. I could drink all the beer I wanted while we were working. But I didn't drink beer, unfortunately. But because there's a vat there, you go over and you have a glass of beer. That's what the other workers did. Could you imagine that? Working for a brewery and you can drink all the beer you want. But that was a good job. It paid well. And it was a good summer. And I think I worked there in the winter too. It's a good job. Rheingold Brewery. Now it was a very famous brewery because they had Rheingold girls. They had models that were identified as the Rheingold girl. She won the contest to be the Rheingold girl. And she was around the place sometimes. It was a famous beer place. And it paid well. It's a good job. Because I was going to college at the time. I was working my way through school.
But what about your very first job?
I think I was 15. Oh, I was doing something with ballpoint pens, putting them together.
Mm-hmm.
And the boss was a crazy man. He would yell and scream and stuff like that. But I was very rebellious, so I would answer him back often, which didn't work out too well. Ballpoint pens, I put them together for the summer. It was a ballpoint pen factory, and I put them together. It was a fun job.
What about when you worked for DC Comics?
Oh, that was a terrific job. My Uncle Abe got me that job.
How old were you?
15. DC Comics, Action, Superman comics. When they first came out, I had all those comics. If I saved those comics, they're worth a fortune to me. I had a whole bunch of them. I had a collection of those comic books. I'm sorry I didn't save those. That would be worth a fortune. They're very famous. I had the first editions of Superman Detective Comics. Huh.
So what did you do for that job?
I went on a lot of errands. I was like the office boy. And I would go to a place where the models were. But I also went to one where I carried a whiskey bottle to the woman. She was one of the boss's mistress. The boss was a drunk. I mean, he owned the place, and he did very well, but he was a drunk. He was a drunk. Huh. And I would deliver a whiskey bottle to his mistress. I was the office boy. And I went on errands and stuff like that. And I think I did something at the office. I don't remember what. Sheriff's office. Oh, I operated a multi-lith machine.
What's that?
That's a printing machine. And we would print out flyers. And I would do that. I would make the prints. I was a multi-lith operator. That was kind of a skill. It's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm 90, and I had that job when I was 16, 18, 70 some odd years.
Yeah.
It's a while ago. And there was a blonde girl there who was very fetching. And I would flirt with her. But I never got the courage to ask her out. I was shy, I guess. Didn't last long. Yeah, no, it lasted a while. I had no confidence in my attractiveness or abilities. I did not feel good about myself. My self-concept was not too good, it was too strong. But I think that's part of a young person growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing was playing ball in the streets of Brooklyn. Basketball.
How did you learn basketball?
I hadn't played at all until I was about 13. And then we lived on Eastern Parkway. And all my friends were still back at the old neighborhood, Newlots Avenue. And we moved to Eastern Parkway because my sisters wanted to be in a better neighborhood to meet more eligible guys. But that meant I moved away from all my friends. But the street I grew up on, where I played ball. So I'd go to the schoolyard and play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I started off just playing by myself. Then there were other guys, and I played basketball there. That's where I learned how to play basketball. My brother went to the school right across the street on Eastern Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when he was running for re-election, came down Eastern Parkway and waved to me. Well, I waved to him. I saw him in one of his election years, which must have been 1943, 1944. He was elected 4 times. So after that, they passed a law that you could only serve 2 terms because that became too much like a king. He was president 4 terms, and in his 4th term, he had a stroke and died. And the country was in mourning for quite a while. Because he had become so popular, so important. He was the president during the war years. And the guy who took over, Harry S. Truman, He was a very little-known senator from Missouri, and he didn't have much recognition. But he turned out to pretty fair president. But he had people were not happy with Harry S. Truman at first. But he turned out to be a bulldog fighter. But when FDR died, oh, the mourning was quite great. But after that, they passed a law, only 2 terms, because he was in his 4th term as president. He was the big politician of our time.
Okay, my camera's about to die.